Hey, I'm Andrew with Ventrac, and today we're talking about the MZ480 Brush Cutter from Ventrac. The MZ480 is Ventrac's heaviest duty brush cutter, and this thing is just built to work. The overall width of this attachment is 52 inches with a cutting width of 48 inches. The deck is equipped with two 1/2-inch thick blades that's capable of cutting vegetation that's up to 3 inches in diameter. So we're really excited about the brush cutter because it builds off the popularity of the Tough Cut, but also incorporates the feedback from Ventrac owners who wanted a brush cutter that could take on larger vegetation. The brush cutter is really intended to be a companion attachment to the Tough Cut and the flail mowers. Not everyone needs a brush cutter, but those operators that are trying to tackle thicker vegetation or vegetation that isn't mowed once a year or even twice a year, they're really going to find the brush cutter to be a helpful addition to their Ventrac attachment arsenal. In this video, we're going to cover general operation of the brush cutter, but as always, please refer to your manual and wear proper PPE. The first step in hooking up the brush cutter is ensuring that the brush cutter hitch arm pins are installed in the attaching and detaching position. Next, drive the machine slowly forward into the arms of the attachment. Then you'll move the front hitch latch lever to the locked position. Place the attachment belt on the PTO drive pulley and engage the PTO belt tensioner rod. Now that the tractor is hooked up to the brush cutter, we need to remove the hitch arm pins from the attaching and detaching pin position and raise the deck so the cutting height pin positions can be accessed. Now we're going to be talking about the three most common settings and adjustments you'll be making when operating the brush cutter. The MZ480 cuts at two cutting heights, 3 inches and 5 inches. These two holes represent the cutting height positions for the mowing deck. To set the cutting height at 3 inches, the front wheels and the hitch arm pins must be installed at the upper set of holes. To set the cutting height at 5 inches, the front wheels and the hitch arm pins must be installed at the lower set of holes. When operating the brush cutter, we recommend that the weight transfer setting be in 2, 3, or 4. But practically speaking, it really makes most sense to operate this attachment in weight transfer setting 4 all the time. It's going to offer you a smoother ride and more traction. The brush cutter is also 550 pounds, so it's a pretty heavy attachment. So when maneuvering through undulating terrain or rougher areas, you're just going to have a better experience operating this attachment. Like other Ventrac attachments, the slope rating with single wheels is 20 degrees, and with the dual wheel kit, it's 30 degrees. Operating the brush cutter is a straightforward process. Once you've set the cutting height to your desired length, you are ready to begin brush cutting. First, turn the tractor on. Then, push the SDLA lever into the float position. Adjust the throttle so that the engine is running between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM. Once it's in this range, engage the PTO switch. One of the coolest features about the MZ480 brush cutter is this spring-loaded gate. This is the feature that allows us to mow up to 3-inch in diameter trees and saplings. Like other decks, most vegetation will be pushed over by the front edges of the deck and then cut by the blades. But the cool thing about the brush cutter is that when material is too big to be pushed over, like a sapling or a small tree, trapping the larger material in this pocket of the deck allows all the stored energy of the main spindle to be delivered through the blades into the material in a controlled fashion, providing you a cleaner cut. Like all Ventrac mowers, the MZ480 can be flipped up for easier maintenance. We're going to go take this mowing deck over to where we have a hoist so we can show you the process. The first step in the process is parking the machine and brush cutter on a smooth, level surface within reach of a hoist. Next, you'll unfasten the rubber latches on the front and rear deck covers and lift them off the deck. Remove the ball pin from the belt tension handle and rotate 180 degrees to release the tension. Remove the hitch arm pins from the hitch arm mounting brackets. Then remove the ball pins from the front of the hitch arm mounting brackets. Next, you'll restart the engine and raise the front hitch to its highest position. At this point, you can shut the engine off and remove the ignition key. Next, you'll attach the hoist to the lift point on the deck and lift the front of the deck up to a near vertical position. Insert the ball pins in the front mounting holes to lock the deck in the upright position. One of the cool things about all Ventrac mowers is we have these helpful charts, so you can see your maintenance schedules as well as helpful parts that you should always have on hand. Because flipping up this deck requires a hoist, we still wanted to ensure that there is a way that operators could access the blades or under the deck shell if they came across some sort of obstruction or issue in the field. That's why we installed this sight window on the mowing deck. All you need to do is remove these two bolts and you'll have access to your blades and a clear line of sight to under the deck shell. If you already own a brush cutter or you're planning on buying one, one thing we strongly recommend is that you equip your tires with our tire reseal. Our tire reseal has Kevlar fibers in it, and it really allows you to stay on the job site longer. Whether you're running our brush cutter or the tough cut, a lot of times vegetation can be cut in a way that can make it sharp and make your tires more prone to be punctured. If you're going to be running the brush cutter, you'll definitely want to get this tire reseal so you can stay out in the field longer. We also recommend that anyone that's operating a brush cutter have a 1/2-inch wrench for the sight window and a 9 16 wrench for the height adjustment of the deck. If you're interested in our brush cutter, there's a good chance that you've come across our tough cut and flail mowing decks as well. It's important to note that the brush cutter doesn't really replace these mowing decks. It's more so something that's used in addition to. The brush cutter really picks up where the tough cut ends. The majority of landscape contractors might find that the tough cut is more applicable to their needs, but there are limits to it, and that's why we came out with the brush cutter. The brush cutter really shines in environments where the vegetation has grown for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. So the best thing to do is walk around your property or a property you manage and see what the vegetation looks like. If the property doesn't have the large saplings or small trees that the brush cutter is really intended to cut down, you might be better off going with a tough cut or a flail mower. If the property requires a lot of land reclamation, a brush cutter might be a great attachment to help speed up that process. Thanks for watching this video on the brush cutter. If you have any additional questions, be sure to contact your local dealer or refer to your owner's manual.